I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Superintendent,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
presentations?
No presentations tonight. Thank you. I'd like to
turn it over to you.
Do have a communication.
I'd like to start my report by recognizing our Teacher of the Year. My mic is very loud. Congratulations to Lindsay Castro, our Teacher of the Year. I'd like to thank the United Brethren of Freemasons for hosting the event. I hope we could take a moment to recognize the ongoing service to the community and for years of recognizing the hard work of teachers in the Marlborough Public Schools. So thank you again to the Masons. No coincidence that they're involved in recognizing teachers. The Masons were some of the first people to support public schools in America, and the Masons have been an organization dedicated to service in their community. I was honored to be part of the recognition and to be able to be part of this ceremony to recognize three wonderful educators who have positively impacted the lives of children in Marlborough. Lindsay Castro, Lindsay Boudreau, and Frank Travassos are all exceptional educators. What makes this event special and meaningful is that it's a recognition from their peer group. So they get nominated by their peers who then write a summary about their accomplishments. Reading all the submissions this year, I was struck by a consistent theme. Almost every candidate for Teacher of the Year had, in some measure, a focus on the emotional well-being and health of kids. What you'll find in these educators is a high level of care and responsiveness to our children's mental and physical health. Thank you again to the Masons and to Mr. Delano for being the Master of Ceremonies in the event. Counselor Delano, sorry. Next is our vision setting, ongoing work. I want to thank everyone who's been part of our groups. We've had 3 successful vision groups that met and worked together. They participated in a bunch of different exercises, including Back to the Future exercises, which really talks about where we want to be 10 years from now. We received a lot of good information back, and I'm going through that now. And one concern that needs to be addressed is, have we heard the voice of the entire community? And it's something the leadership team and I are actively working to resolve to make sure that we have the voice from the entire community. Dual language immersion. So soon enough, probably this summer, there's going to be an exploratory committee that's going to be starting to look at the option of having dual language immersion in the elementary program moving forward. It's a very early stage, and we don't have a lot of information to share at the present time. But the team will be looking at models inside and outside of Massachusetts that could have success in Marlborough. The exploratory committee will be starting this summer and will bring a recommendation to me and eventually to the school committee should there be a request to alter programming. Additionally, I wanted to recognize a student, Miguel Lopez Rivera. He is the recipient of the National Association of Secondary School Principals Award. Mr. Riley selected Miguel. He's a great example for his peers as a member of both the student council and he's in the a cappella choir. Miguel was in this year's spring musical, West Side Story. And Miguel is enrolled in 4 AP classes, AP English Lit and Comp, AP Calculus, AP Comp Sci, and AP Physics. He carries a very rigorous course load. Mr. Riley selected Miguel, and I wanted to just add this to my report as well. If he was here tonight, I don't see him, so unfortunately I don't get to thank him in person, but he will be recognized at graduation for this accomplishment. And as always, just a look forward, May 29th, the 7th and 8th grade concert, May 30th, National Junior Honor Society at Wickham, June 3rd, MHS Faculty Awards. I believe the graduation, is that group June 7th or June 6th? I might have had a misprint on that. I'll get back to you on the graduation walks. That might be a misprint. And obviously graduation on June 9th. Busy couple weeks.
Question?
It's not a question, but I just wanted to make note of the correspondence that you sent us regarding, the music. That yes. I thought public might want to know about that.
Sure. We received a correspondence from the Festivals of Music congratulating all of our students and musicians who participated from Marlborough High School, particularly thanking the instructors Shannon McNulty, James Verdone, Angie Crockwell, Jonathan Rosenthal. This was for the festival that our kids participated in Washington, D.C. And it was a very nice letter thanking us for their participation and that they look forward to seeing us in the future.
Since we came back with all the trophies, they're now inviting us back to Disney, huh?
We're going to have to make more trophies.
Ms. Hennessy.
Thank you. First, I wanted to say I'm thrilled that we're looking at the dual language immersion program. You know, I have to say on a personal note, I have a friend that lives down in Milton, and they have a French immersion program, which both of her sons were able to be a part of, and it was exceptionally, you know, positive experience. So I think that's a great, not that I'm saying French, but I just think it's a great, you know, it's a great idea. And I'm thrilled to hear about the selection of Miguel, because he's an incredible student representative. When we talk about the whole child, Miguel really is a great representative, like the whole child. So
Very deserving.
yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a quick update tonight from Finance and Operations. It will be June this week, so Andy White's busy preparing for summer maintenance efforts for the schools. He's currently developing a list of work priorities for each building, and as soon as we have that list, we're going to be sharing that with the committee. These will be items that are above and beyond the regular maintenance that we do every year on the schools. Okay, so for my next report, I will have a more extensive list of work that we'll be completing. Food services, we had a record lunch at Whitcomb on Nacho Day. 935 units were sold. That was Friday, May 17th. We also tried a made-to-order pasta bar at Marlborough High. It was well received, and we're actually going to be trying that again this week. Today would have been a great day, a nice rainy day. Wanted to update the committee. As you know, we recently recommended a new contract with Aramark. As part of that new contract, they will actually be adding a position called a chef manager. That's an Aramark position. This person will be responsible for expanding culinary interaction with the students by traveling between all of the schools and showcasing different meals. The position will also help us strengthen employee skills, menu development, and quality assurance. We're still working out the details, but this is something that's working out well in other districts, and I'm excited to get that introduced here. Cafeteria balances are currently at a negative $3,850. This compares to a negative balance of $3,157 at the same period last year. This number becomes more important as we approach the year end, because as we know, we absorb this cost. But I also wanted to remind the committee that even though we do absorb this cost, the collection efforts does not stop once we pay that bill. Okay. And then, of course, FY19 is quickly coming to an end. The office is already busy with closing procedures for FY19, the FY19 budget. Part of this process includes closing out all purchasing throughout all of the buildings. So actually, last Friday was the deadline for all purchase orders to be opened at all individual sites. The next step is actually looking at all of the remaining open purchase orders that sometimes remain open throughout the year, and closing those out and identifying funds that could be released back into the budget. Once we complete those two things, we're going to have a better idea of where we're going to end fiscally for FY19. So on my June report, I'll know whether or not there'll be some efficiencies that we can tackle some important projects, or maybe even return some funds to the city. Okay. That's all for my report tonight.
Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of April 23rd.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Motion to accept, motion to approve the minutes of May 14th.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Public participation. Please come up, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
No book tonight? Okay, thank you. It's down here?
I'll leave it behind you.
Hello, Mark Dexter, 30 Sonia Drive. My participation tonight is about item number 9E, the before and after school program that we had the subcommittee on, and you are going to vote for tonight, from my understanding. I look forward to hearing about how it was decided which references were okay to use and which references were not. I do see that some of the references for Kidsborough were disqualified as they were not deemed urban enough, but the actual population of the student body in those two towns of Canton and Hopkinton is 3,310 and 3,518 respectively, compared to 4,575 of Marlborough, according to the DOE. Framingham's 8,700. They're not exactly apples to apples with us either, but I understand the difficulty to actually find apples to apples comparisons. I also understand how Kidsborough had to put together their RFP. Is that the right acronym? I'm sorry. Thank you. RFP. I called it an RFA earlier, which is restricted free agent. How they had to decide on 3 references for RFP, but you had on the previous meeting on the 26th of March, a person speaking on behalf of Kidsborough who was an adolescent advocate as well, who recommended Kidsborough for their services. I don't know how that doesn't hold weight as well. I know, again, everything has to be measured equally, but it just didn't. And the biggest thing I have for me is I have 2 subordinates and a boss who I work closely with, and we can't come to an agreement on 5 questions. And the 3 who reviewed the RFP somehow 40 for 40. Perfect scores. No one had a dissenting opinion. I know there's requirements, but you can still have a objection. And it seems like only one person reviewed 3 and voted 3 times. There was no dissension in the ranks. Nothing. It just smells. And that's just what I would like to hear a sentence or 2 about when you guys discuss this, what actually was the process. I wasn't able to attend that day, but thank you. Oh, and I know you're not IT, but if someone could put the minutes up for that 326, because I didn't have that person's name. I watched the video and her name didn't come across the microphone, but I would have used it today.
Thank you very much. Other public participation. Any other public participation? Oh, please come up, state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Kathy Phillips. My address is 92 Woodridge Road. I'm also here just to ask, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask questions, but just to get a little bit more information about the decision to not just switch to a different program for the school year, but also for the summer. We are about 3 weeks away from the end of school. Many of us were counting on Kidsborough to provide summer care to our children, and found out on Friday that that wasn't going to be happening. This has caused quite a bit of concern and stress in my household, because we already had our summer plans figured out. Camps are completing registration already, and finding a camp that you can send your child to that you trust, that is open for hours for someone who works in Waltham, has to be there at 8 o'clock, whose husband has to be at work at 7:30. It's very difficult to find without costing an arm and a leg. And Kidsborough was one of the only programs that did offer that. I think one of the worst things about not just change, but is lack of information. When there's lack of information, when a decision is made, that's very hard for people to swallow. So just as you guys are making your decisions, sharing as much information as you can with people, I would encourage, because it's very difficult to just not know what you're going to be doing for the rest of the summer. So just when you're thinking about the decisions that you're making and why you're making them, sharing the information with the public and the people that it affects the most would really be helpful.
Thank you very much. Any other public participation? Any other public participation? Any other public participation? What?
Hi, I'm Megan Segrin, 34 Tecumseh Trail. I'm also pretty disgusted about the summer program situation, considering you said that Kidsborough could continue through the summer, 3 weeks before summer, and there's no Kidsborough. I wasn't as dependent on it as some of the other parents that I've talked to were, but to leave parents in a situation where Kidsborough is affordable, there's somebody we know and trust, and now they're completely gone, and you're gonna, like Kathy said, you're gonna make them go out and look for another summer camp when summer camps that provide the hours that Kidsborough did cost $500. And now, you know, sure, maybe we have to go with the Boys and Girls Club, but we don't know them yet, and we're just gonna throw them in there in 3 weeks and not have any idea who they are. Is anybody here from the Boys and Girls Club? Yes. All right. Like the report that went out is all in code. What does it mean? There's no transparency. And like you said, there's no way 4 people all agreed on everything. That's complete BS. And you all know it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public participation? Any other public participation? Other public participation? Seeing none. Entertain a motion. You want to move that up?
Yeah. Motion, would you want to move it?
Before all the policies. We'll, might as well take it up. And
motion to move item 9E.
Motion made and seconded to move up item 9E.
Sorry.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. And we'll take this up now since there are representatives from different organizations and parents here. We have some lengthy policies to take up, so we wanted to kind of deal with this first. But I would just like to open by let everyone know that, you know, we follow the RFP process. Government's kind of governed by certain processes we need to file. And actually, if you're working with a nonprofit in your community, we could have skipped that, but that probably wouldn't have come across fair at all to Kidsborough. So we actually did go through the process. And as far as the reaction goes, I know we went through this several years ago when Kidsborough actually was awarded the contract, and Boys Club at that time was losing it. So I totally understand when we're talking about some of the kids that parents are concerned, and we're getting closer to the summer period. So we went out at the recommendation of the school committee and did the process a second time, so it kicked it down even farther. But I just really wanted to get that out before we started discussions about it. Anytime there's change and it involves the children of the city, it makes it more difficult. So with that, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have received responses to the RFP. 2 of the proposals were disqualified for not meeting statutory requirement. There was an evaluation committee that comprised of myself, Mr. Geary on the school committee, and Dr. Skaza of the Richard Elementary School. We reviewed the remaining 4 technical proposals. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought he was asking me a question. The proposal from Boys and Girls Club had the most evaluation points and therefore was deemed to be the most advantageous proposal. The Boys and Girls Club 5-year proposal of $666,502 is within the threshold of the RFP. They met all the minimum conditions, and it was deemed accessible by the district. So the recommendation is to award the contract to Boys and Girls Club for an operation of a before and after school and summer structure program for the Marlborough Public Schools. And if I may, just for a moment, I know Chris Dwayne is here from Boys and Girls Club, so before she gets up to speak, I've spoken to Chris today, and we had a conversation because we know that there's a lot of fear out there about the summer programming. So based on that conversation, I reached out to Kidsborough to ask them if they wanted to have a discussion about summer programming on Friday, because I think there's an agreement in the room that we all want to work together for the best thing for kids, and that would be potentially having Kidsborough run the summer program, which I think is speaks to your character. So appreciate that. So that was just my comment before we start.
And I'll open it up for a motion, and then we can open it up for discussion after the motion is made. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to move forward with the recommendation of the Boys and Girls Club being selected for the next 5 years for the after-school and before-school programming.
Motion made and seconded to approve the recommendation of the superintendent. Open it up for discussion.
So just to clarify, what you just said is that you've worked out that Kidsborough will run the summer program?
No, all we've done is offered it out to Kidsborough to have a discussion about summer. It's for them to come to the table and talk to us. But I think what you're hearing is in the room from Chris and myself is that we do have, concerns about some of those things. I think Boys and Girls Clubs definitely do a great job at that, but understanding the time crunch we're under, I think it's a reasonable thing to have a discussion with the vendor who's currently in place and see what the best thing to do for right now is. So I appreciate those conversations from Boys and Girls Club, even though you're considering awarding them that contract, for them to be able to think about it in a bigger view about what's right for the city. So.
Thank you.
We welcome that conversation. I don't have any agreement in place, nothing like that, but we welcome the conversation.
And I had spoken to the superintendent over the weekend and told him, I thought there would be concerns about information and timing and getting some communication out there. And he had said that he already had spoken to Chris about the opportunity of a information night, and that will be
on June 3rd. We're holding this room we can have up to, I think, 80 parents in here, so we can have an information night on June 3rd. Time to be determined, and obviously meeting to be determined based upon your vote. So I don't want to be presumptuous. We're just saying if and when we need to reach out to parents, we can certainly do that and have some time available to answer questions.
What time are you having that?
Thinking about 5:30, maybe a little bit, around that time frame.
Questions from the committee? Ms. Hennessy.
I'm just going to say thank you very much for opening that opportunity for discussion. I think, all of us are parents around the table, so we've all been in that position of concern of wanting to make sure that you have coverage for your kids in a place that you feel comfortable and supported. So I appreciate hearing that you have opened up that opportunity for some discussion to happen. So thank you.
Other questions, comments, anything? Seeing none, on the motion to approve, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you very much.
So we will post a informational night for parents on June 3rd, and we will get that out as soon as possible to everybody, so that way they can plan ahead. And we will start putting links on our district website for folks to be able to start the registration process. And again, we will reach out to the current vendor and make sure that we do our best for the city. And I'm not sure, Chris, if you just wanted to just briefly touch upon just a couple things about the program, so briefly. Thank you.
Is this on? Yep. Good evening. Chris Dwayne, Boys and Girls Club Metro West, president of the organization. Privileged to work in this community for the last 25 years and with this organization. And And again, working with Mr. Bergeron and making this as smooth of a transition, we look forward to working with school department, individual schools, also parents, and trying to make this as smooth as possible moving forward. And it is a time crunch right now, and so we are very willing and would like to do what's best for parents. We've heard some of the concerns, and we want to make it as smooth as possible. So we appreciate and we look forward to working with everyone going forward.
Any questions from the committee? Any questions? Thank you very much. We're looking forward to it. I mean, I think we had two good organizations, great organizations that have been taking care of our kids now for a number of years, and obviously a little partial to the Marlborough organization, but I think parents will be very happy as they were a few years ago when the organization was doing it. So with that, thank you very much. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the most riveting part of the meeting, as always. Transfers. So, again, in preparation for finishing out the year and making sure that all of the budget lines align. So here at ECC, we're requesting a transfer of $4,100, utilizing savings in the payroll line at JARIC to offset $1,000 in the office support line, $3,000 in the substitute line, and $100 in the supply lines at ECC. At JARIC, requesting a transfer of $12,500, utilizing efficiencies in the Marlborough High substitute line and JARIC para line to support overages of $500 in the charge custodian line, $2,000 in custodial overtime, and $10,000 for teacher substitutes. At Kane, a total transfer of $26,510, savings of $26,500 over the JARIC ELL teacher line to support $510 overage in teacher nursing, $16,000 for substitutes, and $4,400 in para overages. At Richard, total transfer of $18,500, utilizing efficiencies in the nursing and para lines to support $1,000 overage in custodial costs, $5,000 for long-term sub and ELL, and $12,500 substitute costs. Second page over at Whitcomb, $6,385 total transfers, two clusters here, $4,400 in efficiencies within the music department to offset overages related to a student trip that's happening there. Also utilizing $2,000 in the middle school athletic savings to offset overages in basketball, coaching, and support staff. At Marlborough High, $7,255, $5,000 in efficiencies being requested to offset overages in student activities of $2,500, as well as overages in office support of $2,500. Also at the high school, utilizing $2,300 in efficiencies in football transportation to offset overages in basketball and golf coaching. District-wide, we're requesting $55,600 to be transferred, savings from the ELA teacher lines at Marlborough High as well as Whitcomb, to offset overages in district-wide supplies and contractor services of $20,600, as well as personnel costs totaling $31,500. Last but not least, in pupil services, we're requesting $87,000 to be transferred from tuition private day to offset a variety of overages within our special education accounts.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Senesi.
My only comment is going to be, we talked about this on another transfer, was about the coaching situations. If we can just make sure that we're kind of going back and forth and moving money into the right place, because, you know, we should have an idea with the coaches what we're going to end up with. Other than, I know once we can start getting to playoffs, sometimes we get additional hours and overtime, but it'd be helpful just so we can try and move forward in the right way. Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. New scholarships.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Riley had sent this over. Each year, several families or companies contact the high school indicating their desire to establish yearly scholarships for the benefit of graduates of MHS. We have 2 offers to set up annual awards. The first being Marlborough Public Schools Music Association, George E. Wapham Memorial Scholarship. They will award $750 to a graduating MHS senior who has a keen interest in pursuing instrumental music beyond high school. Special interest in performing patriotic march and parades is commendable. The second is the Jennifer Nave Scholarship.
So, George.
They will award $1,000 to a graduating MHS senior who is a student of immigrant parents. So the recommendation is that the school committee accept these generous offers so that graduates will be able to receive these scholarships at our June 2019 graduation.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded. To accept with gratitude. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries. Policies are.
These are, thanks, wow. Okay, so with that, we have a lot of policies here to review, which hopefully you had a chance to review at home. So first one up would be policy 2.224, student representative on committee. So I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve policy number 2.224, student representative on committee. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries. Policy 2.260, Code of Ethics.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.260, Code of Ethics.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Mr. Matthews.
Sorry. Just a note on the second bullet point on your listing. So a school committee member in their relations with their school administration it has to renumber because you eliminated one.
Ah, okay.
You're right.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries. Policy number policy 2.442, order of business.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.442, order of business.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Mrs. Matthews.
Renumbering.
Yeah,
Yes.
took 4 out.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Once I get to give a clean version, it will, but thank you.
But it would be in the
What?
red line version if you had.
Motion made and seconded to
Exactly.
approve. Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carries.
Do you want to do policy too? No, I'm just kidding.
2.442.5, members forum.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.442.5, members forum.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries. Policy 2.4426, school committee discussion directives.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.442.6, school committee discussion directives.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries. Policy 2.442.7, minutes.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.442.7, minutes.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries. Policy 2.442.8, action items reports.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.442.8, action items reports.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries. Policy 2.442.9, reports of school committee subcommittees.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.442.9, reports of school committee subcommittees.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries.
Wait, sorry, that was 2.449?
2.442.9.
Question.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
had,
We already voted on it.
you didn't even give me a chance. You had struck action necessary in previous ones. Does action necessary need to be struck here?
It
You've had
will
2 weeks.
be struck. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Thank you, Czar.
Policy 2.443,
No, you're czar. I'm
quorum.
annoying.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.443, quorum.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Policy 2.444, voting method.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.444, voting method.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Does it say in there you have to make motions before it's voted on?
Normally it does, yes. But sometimes for those people that are late and they meant well and it was going to be done, we might as well just let her
All
go.
those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Policy 2.9, committee legislative involvement.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.900, committee legislative involvement.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Policy 2.95, membership in associations.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve policy 2.950, membership in associations.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Ms. Matthews?
I just think it's just funny wording saying appropriate associations subject to appropriations. Like, I know it's budget because you're already using appropriate in a different, I don't know, I'm just being nitpicky. I admit it.
Can you come up with a better word?
Subject to budget approval.
We can do that. It's really the
I
same
know,
thing. But
She
but
just
you're using
doesn't like the
appropriate.
same
she doesn't like
form of the
appropriate and
word.
appropriate.
There's a lot of
because
appropriates in there.
It's too many
Appropriate
appropriates.
appropriations. I said I'm being nitpicky.
Budget
That's
approval.
what we do if I'm the
Subject to
county.
budget approval is completely fine if that will make it better for you.
No, I said I was nitpicky. You don't have to
It's
change
really
it.
okay.
Been a motion to reject the
Reject it,
amendment.
please.
So I will amend what?
You can reject it.
Okay,
Leave it. I just felt I need to be
it's
heard.
really okay. I don't really care.
Oh, thank you.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It does
It's really
flow better.
okay. So
This
I will,
is
I will,
Ed.
I will rescind my motion and I will amend it to a new motion that would be to amend per Ms. Matthews' suggestion, subject to budget.
Motion to
Okay,
approve as
funding.
amended.
Excuse me.
Okay, to funding.
Funding.
Approve as amended. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Policy 6.600, drug, alcohol-free workplace.
Can I just ask, this is a very late request. Can we just remove the employee signature from it? We don't need that anymore since it's a policy at the end of it.
We can do that now. Okay. So, I'd like to make a motion with the amendment from the superintendent with that removal to move forward this policy, which is policy 6.600, drug and alcohol-free workplace.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Any discussion? Ms. Matthews?
So my question back to the superintendent then would be, does that mean that as like with the student handbook, that the employee handbook has an acknowledgement for our employees to sign off on this?
Generally, any of the policies we have is when we're bringing people in for employment, we have them sign off that they've read and understood the policies and accept them, and then we make copies available.
Well, I was trying to compare it to that we make our students sign.
Isn't this one that
policies.
was state law that supersedes the whole thing?
We generally, well, tobacco is a federal thing. Drug and alcohol is a local policy, but there's obviously state laws that supersede it as well.
Right. Okay, I just
We just don't need the employee signature piece of it anymore.
on the policy.
On the
itself.
policy.
Right, on the policy,
Yeah,
yes.
on the policy.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Policy 6.620, tobacco-free policy.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move forward policy 6.620, tobacco-free policy.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those, Ms. Matthews?
But this would be superseded by the federal law, correct? So anytime
Always.
there would be?
Always, but we've included, So federal law is like the basis, and what we do is we are adding pieces in here that uses a lot more descriptive things, such as limitations to smoking, chewing, absorbing,
Right.
dissolving, inhaling, snorting, sniffing, ingesting, vaping. So that way we cover a whole realm of what potentially could be defined as smoking or using tobacco products.
Okay.
And if I can add on, this has gone through a number of conversations
I knew
with
that.
the attorneys to just make sure we had kind of broad stroked with everything.
I don't think we'll ever cover everything because somebody's going to invent something.
Well, right, as best as we could.
Motion to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. And policy 3.510, administration and policy absences.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to remove policy 3.510, administration and policy absence. If you will remember from previous discussion, we actually have a policy that addresses this issue that's in Chapter 2 next to all of these other other policies.
Similar policies.
So, similar. So that's why we're looking to remove it.
Motion made and seconded to remove. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Acceptance of donations and gifts, Stop and Shop A+ program, Richer School, 19610.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Donor's Choice, Whitcomb School Teacher Libraries, $561.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Follett Buyback Program, Kane School, $135.34, and Richer School, $12.18.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Reports of school committees, subcommittees. Now you have a subcommittee?
I'm not a subcommittee myself, but I just wanted to let the school committee know that I have sent you my self-evaluation, and that generally a subcommittee sometimes is formed. The process is up to you, but I wanted to just make you aware I've sent you my self-evaluation and look forward to the process.
Thank you.
We all stare at Michelle.
I was waiting to members forum to bring up, but that's okay.
Members Forum.
No other subcommittees want to chime in? Okay. So it's evaluation of the superintendent time, and historically, I've been coordinating it. I don't have to, we can pick a different format, should the committee see fit. I guess I'm doing it again. So,
Neither Earl or Taryn knows.
So did folks click the link that superintendent sent to, and were you able to get the actual?
Yes.
Good. So start filling it out. What we need to do is pick a date. So I
We have
think
2
what
more
we
meetings.
do, we have 2 more meetings, so we can present at the last meeting. So if people can get it to me maybe in 2 weeks, then I can compile things and we can report out at the last meeting. Okay?
Good.
All right.
We'll follow that lead.
That was it.
Other Members Forum. Ms. Hennessy.
Thank you. I guess I'll just say that if people could sign up for helping with the all-nighter, I know that, superintendent's planning on it. Exactly. I know that Allison Hathaway and Jackie Plank and a number of huge committee have been working really hard on getting things planned, but they could really use underclassmen parents especially, or parents of students that have already graduated that might be available and open to helping out that evening for chaperoning at Wayside. And it's a really worthwhile event, so I will put it out there. And if anyone does not know who or how to contact, feel free to reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with the right people. But thank you.
Tip. keep an eye on the family locker room.
It's a good tip. All locker rooms.
Yeah.
Right, Darren?
There was a general manager that gave me a lecture that day.
Oh, I wonder who that might have been.
Mrs. Matthews.
This is not a member's, this actually goes back to a question on donations, but for the superintendent. Obviously, we've been receiving a lot of donors' choice ones, and I know we created a policy around it, but one, I guess, with the amount that we seem to be getting and the same participants, my concern is that the process that the policy set out to do isn't really working. So I guess I would just ask that maybe we reevaluate that.
Yep, I can review that.
You know,
too
you know
with
what I'm
the
saying, that
person.
it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other members? Any other members?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you very much.